I don't know how to describe it, but the pressure on your chest, the gut feeling you have, and that endless thinking, negative thinking of, I will never come out of this. If your mental health is not right, with sex life is not going to be right as well, because it's just going to have its effect on how you function. And that's okay.
Anton, thanks for being here today. And it's quite exciting because we know each other already quite a while. You've been doing some cool stuff. Maybe you should tell the audience what happened last year.
Yeah, sure. Elaborate a little bit on what's been happening.
Short introduction.
Yeah. So, Anton Nootenboom, these days also known as the Barefoot Dutchman, and that's mainly because I do barefoot world records. One of them was barefoot to base camp of Mount Everest. Another one was a Guinness World Record walking through Australia along the East Coast. A little over, it was a little over 3,000 Ks, and that's when I said I will never do this again. And then last year I did 5,100 Ks from Los Angeles to New York City. With a purpose, of course, not just because I wanted to go for a bit of a walk. It's something very challenging and out of the ordinary to raise awareness for men's mental health and funds. And this was just one way of doing it.
That's a perfect bridge, because we're here for a nice talk about Inside Out. And maybe it's just interesting to know what your thoughts are with the words inside out.
Yeah, of course, like for me, the first thing that comes up is like spilling out your guts, like spilling out whatever is going on the inside. We have a lot going on the outside that can mask certain feelings or emotions or, whatever we're going through at the moment. And for me, inside out is just showing the inside, showing what's going on internally, which is very important. That's, the reason why I did these crazy walks is to get people to feel more comfortable to show the inside, what's going on. So that's what it means for me.
So in fact, you started walking, doing the barefoot trips, really for this cause, right? Or can you maybe tell this just shortly?
Sure.
How it.
Well, it's mainly because I had to go through my own mental health chapter a few years back in 2018, and coming out of it, I felt the urge of helping others, because I realized this is a massive issue. Like, it's not in the first period of that stage, I felt like I was just by myself, having to go through it by myself. But then I realized, like, there's so many more people struggling with their inside, and you don't have to do it by yourself. And if the army taught me one thing, is lead by example. And I just wanted to share my story and the tools that I learned, with the hopes that creates like a safe space for someone else to feel, okay, if he can do it, I can do it, because that's just how it works. And therefore I came up with, doing things way out of the ordinary to get people's attention, but most importantly, to keep people's attention, which is very difficult these days. And this was just one way of doing it.
Yeah. Can you mention one specific moment that was really like the toughest of tough? Mentally, maybe that's because we're talking about inside out.
Yeah, I think mentally, the heat, there's just no hiding from the heat. So when I got to the Midwest, I knew it was going to get hot, but then they had the driest summer in 100 years, I heard. It was like high 30s, low 40s every single day, with a very high humidity, and there was just no way of hiding. It went on for 3.5 months straight of just relentless heat. And that gets you. Like, there's, of course, like it's already physically challenging, it's mentally challenging. You don't sleep well, you don't eat good enough, because it's fair enough, it's the US. But then then you have that heat, and just like you said, there's no way of hiding for it. So yeah, that was difficult.
And then quitting, did it came up?
No, that's not something that's in my vocabulary. Oh, no, that's not the right word, but that's not something that's in my system to quit. If I start something, I finish it. It's just finding different ways to finish it. So whatever challenge comes up ahead, like there's always a way. You can go underneath, you can go over to the sides, you can go through it. And every time there's a new challenge, there's a new way of one way of finding out to get through it. Yeah.
Now our brand was there a little bit to support you. We had some of the natural gear that you were able to wear.
Right.
Um, but let's be honest, and really honest.
Yeah.
Did it work? Did it help, or was it something with the pain of only walking barefoot, then the rest doesn't come to mind if
Mm.
you think of clothing.
How important is to have the right thing on your skin, because if not, then that's just going to be another challenge to have to deal with. And now there was one challenge I didn't have to deal with because what I had on my skin was good.
Yeah, yeah,
So I didn't have to think about it.
yeah,
And in that sense, it helps a lot, because the more you have on your mind, the more difficult the day gets. So having this on my skin made me feel like, okay, that's one thing less to worry about. Also with the sun, because I was walking with long sleeves and long johns
yeah, yeah,
every single day, even in that 30, 40 degrees heat, especially in the 30, 40 degrees heat, because it was one protecting me from the sun, but also keeping the
yeah.
moist, uh, in it,
Balanced.
balanced.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but then I'm not consciously thinking about it. I just know it's being taken care of, and that's what it needs.
Yeah, I was specifically wondering, because we're here talking about us, having our own challenges. You came back and you told me it was quite tough
Mm.
to land again
Yeah.
here on the cold, wet grounds of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our listeners, what specifically was difficult coming back?
I think the most difficult thing is the fact that you have gone way past your own limits for so long
Yeah,
that eventually you're going to break down. So you can run on adrenaline for a pretty long time,
yeah,
but as soon as you finish, whatever you borrowed on energy and strength, it's going to hit you in the face. And I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't know the strength of it, and it was strong. Like
mm,
I'm pretty sure I was in a burnout, and I'm finding my own way of coming out of it. I'm definitely not in the clear yet. It's been 3.5 months since I finished, but still feeling the aftermath of it. In a sense, my batteries are done really fast, and my strength is, not even half from what it used to be. But that's just part of the deal. That's part of going on these massive challenges. You'll have to face the consequences in that sense as well. And also the fact that you've been on this mission every single day, and all of a sudden that's gone.
yeah,
So you wake up and like, okay, what's next? And
mm,
what personally for me is very difficult is being in the Netherlands, because here in the Netherlands, there's everyone's always on a go, and you've been taught that you always need to be working, you always need to be doing something, and if you're not doing something,
yeah,
you start to
yeah,
get restless.
yeah,
And I've had that for 3 months now, where I know I need to pace myself. I know I need to take it very easy. And especially the first few weeks, I couldn't do anything but sleep and just lay on the couch and do nothing
yeah,
and watch Netflix.
yeah, yeah,
But then in your mind, it's like, yeah, no, but I need to be productive.
yeah, yeah.
So that's like a constant battle. Um, yeah. And all of that combined can be very, very tiring. Yeah.
I think we can all really understand that at a certain level. I mean, especially myself, but in general, it's sometimes hard to get back on track, right?
Mm.
But from a learning perspective, what did it bring you this more difficult time afterwards?
Hmm. I think I do have a good insight is that I'm fully mortal, and even though I give very successful men retreats, for example, I still have a lot to learn
Mm,
myself as well, and that's like
yeah,
a never-ending process.
yeah,
But I think because other people, because of what I do, put me on a pedestal a lot,
yeah,
you start to feel like, oh man, I'm in the clear, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then
The guru.
yeah, exactly. Where I'm always saying I'm not. Like I'm just
Yeah.
going through life and I share whatever I learn.
Yeah.
But that really puts me into my spot again. Like, maybe you still have a lot to learn yourself as well. And here you go through it. This is like another lesson for you to learn. So it really makes me humble as well, in the sense of, you can be leading at something, but you can still be learning at the same time.
That's the process of the conscious warrior, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a never ending journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a cool thing as well. Like, I think for a lot of people it can be overwhelming. Like, oh, it's a never ending thing. But it's also cool because that means you get to learn new things, and it's not always going to be fun. Learning something new should be a
Well,
good.
this is a good point. I mean, I believe a lot of people maybe come to think that there should be something like a smooth road and one way up and kind of the perfect life idea. But
Yeah.
the truth is that life comes with
Oh yeah.
quite difficult roads,
Yeah.
and we all have to go through that.
Yeah.
But the mindset, maybe, that's the thing with
Yeah.
going through it and being in, staying with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Not finding any distractions and learning the tools on how to deal with the lows, because
Yeah.
it's very easy to be in
Yeah.
the highs, but in those moments you already need to prepare yourself. Like, this too shall pass. Whatever is going right, at some point shit's gonna hit the fan and you'll be down again. And then it's about, okay, but I got myself. I
Yeah.
know what I need to do, and I know I can feel this way right now, but in a day or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, whatever, I know I'll get out of this. And that's the space where some people get stuck in the way of thinking like, I will never get out of this.
Yeah.
And it's about learning the right tools by going through these valleys to, like, okay, but I will get out of this, and I know that. Yep.
So what do you do then to get back your natural balance? What have you done in the past weeks to get yourself back on track?
Yeah. Well, firstly, to accept that it's okay to feel miserable, which is very difficult to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Accept that you're just vulnerable at that point. Like, going through a burnout, for example, it makes you very vulnerable. You feel sad, you feel annoyed or angry, or you're overstimulated really fast. You feel weak in your body, so you feel vulnerable, and it's a difficult thing to accept, that you just need to be vulnerable in that point. But then also for me personally, to yes, give myself space to be vulnerable, but also know that there are steps I need to take to come out of this, because you can also become a victim of it. It's like, oh yeah, no, but I'm just vulnerable, I'm just sad, and it's okay. No, there's also things you can do to strengthen yourself again to come out of it.
Yeah.
And my tools are meditation, breath work, all in the morning, eating healthy as I can, workout, lifting heavy for me just does the trick. Sleep is very important. So whatever you need to sleep the right amount of hours, like at least 8 hours, is very important for me personally, but I think for a lot of people. um, yeah, and really tone myself with not wanting to do too much at the same time. Again, a lesson I learned over the last few days, I got a little bit more energy. So it's like, oh, yes, I can do this and this and this. And then after 2 days, I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm done again. Like, now I'm too tired to do the things I had planned that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, really keeping.
Which is actually nice, because you told me, so you communicate with people about it as well.
Yeah.
That's also inside out, kind of, huh?
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely a tool that I learned, that you cannot expect from other people to know what you're going through. And if you don't
Exactly.
communicate clearly that
Yeah.
what it is that you need,
Yeah.
then your needs are never going to get met. And then some other person might think, oh, he's just grumpy, he doesn't want to do things, or he cancels me all the time. But if you just say like, hey, this is what I'm going through right now. If there's any space, I would like to take it.
Yeah.
If not, I'll find a different way to take my space.
But from this process of growing, becoming more conscious, or at least love yourself again. Can you tell me if there is a specific moment that really comes up again about this process and feeling very shitty?
Mm. Yeah, 100%. I think, oh, there's so many, but when I went through my own mental health chapter, I remember I couldn't work anymore because of my panic attacks. And that meant I couldn't afford a living in one of the most expensive cities. So I moved back to a hostel, and I was in my dorm with, bunk beds, five youngsters. And yeah, I was so incredibly depressed and sad and miserable. Um, I was laying in a bunk bed, and I just, I don't know how to describe it, but the pressure on your chest, the gut feeling you have, and that endless thinking, negative thinking of, I will never come out of this, and how the walls would just close in on me, just thinking that, um, you know, it's such a heartbreaking feeling. It's hard to explain to someone that doesn't know that feeling,
Mm.
but it's like a wrenching feeling inside of you that pretty much pulls all your muscles, and you feel so incredibly low and empty and lonely, and everything at the same time.
Are you actively connected to the soil or to the earth, Mother Earth, or
Yeah.
do you see it like that, or is
um
there a different way you experience the barefoot walk?
yeah. At first it wasn't at all about that. I didn't even know it was a thing.
No.
When I started walking barefoot, I just did it because it was comfortable and easy for me in this
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
Later on, I learned about the benefits of walking barefoot and grounding. I fully believe in it. The scientific proof is there. It works, and I can highly recommend to everyone to take your shoes off, because they don't fit anywhere unless you walk on different types of shoes. I want one of
yeah,
them here.
yeah.
Um,
I wear them.
oh, here we go. Yes, the barefoot shoes. um, but definitely, put your feet into the sand, or put them into the water or in the dirt, and you feel straight away that that's what you're supposed to be doing with your bare feet.
Yeah. An advice for our listeners: if they want to challenge or to feel or experience the barefoot walking
Yeah.
thing, what would you suggest them to do?
Well, there's only one thing you can do, and that's take off your shoes and go walking barefoot.
And where and when? What is a good moment?
When doesn't really matter. Where, I would say just grass. Start with grass. It's so nice to have the soft earth and the grass touching your feet. And maybe, like, if you're kind of skeptic like I am, just go online, see all the online, like all the scientific research and stuff. You can see that the energy from the earth is doing something to our body, and we start to create happy chemicals.
Yeah.
Um, it's like it's an actual thing. At first I thought bit of hippie gibberish. No, it's an actual thing, and you will feel it straight away. Get your feet to touch the grass, and you will feel it for yourself. And there's not like a learning process or easier way in. No, take off your shoes, give your feet the freedom they deserve, and walk on the grass, and you will feel it straight away.
Maybe watch out for some dog shit, because
Yeah, don't do it in the Vondelpark.
last week I was walking on a bit frosty grass,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it felt like very soft and warm. I think, what the?
Oh, true. Okay. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, it's
Okay, no,
nice,
that's
but
it was a nice feeling,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
clean it in the
Well,
water.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
stinky. So yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you can tell, if you know, or have a moment in mind where you feel an incredible sense of connection and intimacy, or at some
Hmm.
point.
Like
Like,
relationship wise, or
well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it can be with animals, can be
Hmm.
on your own, like somewhere in nature. Connection with yourself, actually.
Like that. Yeah. Well, I think there's plenty of moments where I was completely by myself in nature. Let's say the Mojave Desert was one of these particular moments where I was still like early on in the journey, and I was walking through the Mojave Desert, and I had this day that no one could reach me. Like the road I was walking on, there was no way of anyone else to reach me. And as far as I could see was desert and these Joshua trees. And then all around me, I could see these mountains. And I remember just walking there and all of a sudden just laughing out loud and doing these 360s of being in full
Oh,
gratitude
wow.
that I brought myself to this
Wow.
really random spot. And when you talk about, this intimacy with self, that was like the moment you would hug yourself. It's
Yeah.
like, holy, this is incredible, man. Like you got yourself here. Look at what you're doing to yourself and what you're doing for yourself. And it was just so beautiful, like such an amazing spot. Even though it's desert has like this unique sense of beauty as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just amazing to be fully by myself as well, knowing no one's gonna come here. Like
Yeah.
this is it. Um, and then also that I realized I still have the discipline to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any shoes with me or socks or anything like that, but I still in those moments where I know there's no one here, also the belief and the knowing that I am that type of person that has the discipline to even walk through a remote desert and keep doing the mission.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was a real like a real moment of intimacy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's on his Instagram to see all these amazing pictures. And we were talking about, yeah, maybe a connection with yourself, in intimacy of the self.
Mhm.
But more in general, how do you see love
Mm.
as a word, as a feeling?
Um, of course, as a feeling, it's a warm feeling, but I think that's also very cliche. And love is always also very challenging and can be a very dark place as well. Like I think heartbreak is part of love, and it's definitely one of the most difficult things to have to go through in life.
Mm.
But in general, love I see as um, Miro, my girlfriend, being there for me, supporting me, going through shit herself because she's in a camper van with no toilet, no shower, and a puppy, and still being there for me. I call that love. But what I also call love is, people that have, you know, they don't know who I am. They just see this random stranger walking through their town, asking if I need anything, and then providing it at the same time. So just
Mhm.
going out of their way for a stranger is a very beautiful sense of love as well. And yeah, a way of intimacy as well, I think, because it's, a vulnerable thing, I think, to offer yourself in that sense as well to a stranger.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that was beautiful. And then the deep conversations I had with complete strangers that felt safe with me to share whatever they were going through is like another deep layer of intimacy that's hard, like often overlooked at.
No.
Because when we think of intimacy and love, then we
Yeah.
generally think straight away about
Yeah.
relationships and,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it. And yeah, I experienced all of it. I experienced all the downsides of it because we also struggled a lot. It's challenging. But at the same time, I saw the beauty and the love of people that just wanted to support in whatever way possible. And,
Mhm.
and Male being there every single day, going through the challenges with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And and there's love, but then there's also part of it is self-love. Is that different for you, or how do you see that?
No, I think that's quite similar. We just kind of forget the self love part most of the time. It's very easy for us to do something for someone else,
Mhm.
but then to ask ourselves, what do we need? And to give the same thing to ourselves is for some reason very difficult.
Yeah.
Um, but I see it as the same thing. Like whatever you pour into someone else, pour into yourself first. Um, it's the typical story of the airplane. Whenever the mask come down, you have to put on the mask yourself first before you put it on someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same in with anything in life. And it's not what's that word again? Selfish, because some people feel like, oh, but that's selfish to think about yourself.
Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
you cannot give to anyone else if your cup is not full. Think about yourself first, and I think that's a beautiful way of loving self and others, because the more you give yourself, the more you can give to others.
And is the topic of man's mental health, is this like, is the definition a total lack of self-love?
Mm, I wouldn't say a total lack of self-love. I think it's also a lack of knowledge. Um, we just don't know the language
Mm,
of self-love,
mm,
or even saying out loud whatever is going on inside of you. If you ask a guy, how are you feeling? You know, what is feeling?
yeah,
Like, yeah, good. Because
yeah,
that's usually the answer we give to
yeah, yeah.
anything. For us men to be in touch with feeling is already like
We're
a few steps.
inexperienced.
We're
Yeah,
inexperienced, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I think it's just a lack of a lot, and also I think mainly lack of knowledge on how to deal with certain situations when it
Mhm,
involves emotions and vulnerability.
mhm.
Um, Yeah, yeah, I think also a lack of self-love, in the sense of that even though we know we don't do it to ourselves because we feel like, no, no, I need to keep going.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're here also talking about it.
Yeah.
It's my deep wish, and also my own um, a struggle to go and share things about vulnerability
Yeah.
and all those things. There is a taboo, of course, with love versus sexuality.
Hmm.
And do you have something to yeah, to digest on both of them coming together? You know,
Mm.
what was your experience yeah, until today, yeah, within sexuality in general?
Oh, that was non-existent pretty much, because something the body just biologically does when it's in survival mode is keep out whatever is not necessary, and sex was definitely one of them. That's like, it's a way to reproduce. It's not important right now to survive.
Mm.
So for me, during the last world record, and pretty much any other like really physical challenging things, that's something that goes to the background, which is annoying because it's something that's needed in like a love relationship. That's like the thing
Mhm,
that connects you, especially when there's a lot of stress involved.
mhm,
You at least have that connector with, physical touch and sex as well, and that wasn't there a lot, pretty much non-existent. So it makes it more difficult to keep everything healthy. And that was definitely a challenge, and like a big university for us both, for me and Meryl, in that situation,
mm,
to live with that. And for me right now, that's like a process of um, leaning more into like, what can I do to get that feeling back? So my body's slowly starting to get back into strength. And so I need to pay attention, like be um, conscious about my sexuality in that sense as well, that I pay attention to, getting that back into a normal, healthy balance as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. About for me, it feels like a lot has to do about balance and also yeah, space to feel.
Yeah.
And we as a brand get a lot of questions, quite some intimate stories around the topic.
Mhm.
So that's why we bring up this question, that it's that we should perform and please
Mhm.
and all those things, that we actually look at our bodies as, parts of it need to be like this or
Mhm.
that, or big or small, or yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, was it for you like similar to look at it as a performance
Oh, for
thing,
sure.
or and that
Well,
did it change?
yeah, as in, I think it will never fully get out of your system, because I think it's just like a very manly thing to
Maybe like
to
the
think
animal.
about. Yeah, yeah, to like, oh, I need to perform. This is the game I want to be good at.
Hmm.
Where it's more about intimacy and finding that connection. Again, it's like just a moment feeling as well. Like sometimes you're just really fired up, the both of you, and you just wanted to go that way. And sometimes it's more about
Yeah,
slowing down and really getting into tune with each other, and less
yeah,
about like the performance. And that you get aware of where is the other person at, and that yeah, that again, like it's a taboo. It's like a delicate subject.
yeah,
Some people
yeah.
don't feel very comfortable talking about it, but that's like, it's a very important topic to talk about, because that's the one that connects. And if you find a way to communicate your needs and feel like, hey, but I think we're meeting each other here right now, or
Mm.
we feel more like here, or if it's not matching, that you can just say, you know what, I think we're in a different space right now, and that it's all good. But that it should be less about only performing and thinking it needs to be the certain way. Porn is definitely, a big factor in that.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of young guys, but also older guys, they watch porn and they think that's how it's done. No, that's just
Yeah.
a freaking movie.
Yeah.
Just like Hollywood is just full of things that never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a very important aspect. And still, like, again, for me also a subject that I need to learn a lot about. And every time you think you know something, there's like 10 times
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
to learn.
But do you allow yourself to be vulnerable with your partner?
Sure, but not as much as I would like to. I think for me, still, it's a taboo as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's still like a
Yeah.
delicate subject that you feel insecure about certain things,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
And I struggle just as anyone else to say some things out loud. But I think I do in the end find a way of, getting it out there, because I know as well, if you don't, it's just going to be like this elephant in the room,
Yeah.
or it's going to be on your mind. And how it works physically is that whenever we think about something too much, it's going to happen in that sense as well, or not going to happen, because things start to malfunction. Just as it's a taboo as well that malfunction is a taboo. If something doesn't work,
Yeah.
we say like, oh, that's the worst thing that can happen. No, it's pretty much your body saying something is going on. You need to work on that first,
Yeah.
which is usually stress.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to the mental health factor of it again, if your mental health is not right, with sex life is not going to be right as well, because it's just going to have its effect on how you function.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just your body saying like, hey,
Yeah.
redirect your
First
attention.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of force, like, trying
Yeah.
to do that, how about you focus on getting yourself healthy first?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
But did you expect us having this conversation maybe a few years back, or even 2 years back, or
No.
no?
No, not really. I mean, like, it's
'Cause
not
that's-
like a typical conversation to have. And for me personally, it's always about walking barefoot, not about being naked. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a very important topic, because it's something that plays in everyone's lives, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's definitely mental health related as well, because like I said, there's a lot of stress involved in everyone's these lives, and it has its effects on our personal lives in that way as well, and that sometimes makes it even worse. So yeah, be mindful about it, and just again, like, find ways to communicate, and find ways to get in touch with yourself. Okay, what's going on, and what can I do to better it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Anton, I think we come to an end.
Yeah.
And I want to really thank you for all your openness about all the things you experience, and I want to thank you for your amazing efforts in this trip, but also in growing consciousness for men. Thanks a lot, and I hope we keep friends during our whole life, and
Will do.
and share a lot of things within
Yeah.
our lives, because that's how we become stronger,
Sure.
So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having the
Take care.
conversation.